See, powers don't kill people. Oh no. It's the person behind the powers that kill people.
Someone's dirtbag uncle once said, with great power comes great responsibility. Cole MacGrath learned this lesson reluctantly after gaining powers from a massive blast that killed thousands. This event changed the world forever, creating super beings, a deadly plague, and an uncertain future. Cole is forced into intervening, and as the player, you have to elect whether or not you want to be the hero or if you want to become infamous. But regardless of the side you choose, Cole will wind up with a lot of death to his name. While there are two paths, the hero route is confirmed canon by Sucker Punch. So I played through the games as the hero and read the comics to find out exactly how many people Cole killed. We first joined Cole as a bike messenger, being chased down by some rando, and after losing him, he receives a call from a man named Kessler, telling him to open the box he's carrying. Encouraged by an extra $500, he does as the caller asks, and as soon as he opens it, there's a massive explosion. The bomb is on a timer, so Cole opening the box had zero impact on the blast, which means everyone that died in the explosion will not be attributed to Cole, since he was simply delivering a package. Unbeknownst to him at the time, there's a lot more at play, which we'll get into later. For now, I'm relieved I don't need to try and find out how many people died here, and we continue following Cole as he wakes up in the middle of the devastation. He's dazed and confused, but he's determined to keep on living, man, and starts towards his friend Zeke's place. As he traverses the rubble, he finds himself absorbing electricity and later summoning it, which destroys a major bridge connecting the historic and neon districts of Empire City. But more tragically, he inadvertently obliterates 7 civilians standing near the bridge as a huge lightning storm strikes them down for Cole's first official kills. It's all too much, and Cole dramatically fades to black after crossing the bridge. There's a comic titled Post Blast that provides a bit more information on Cole's life after this moment. He's taken care of by Zeke and his girlfriend Trish, who are shocked to discover his electric powers. Over a few days, he learns to use them and slowly gets more used to the powers. He notices himself getting slowly stronger, but then riots break out in the streets, and that's when Cole and Zeke elect to set up a base on the rooftops and avoid the chaos down below. After the intro, the game opens up 2 weeks into quarantine. The city was locked down soon after the blast when a plague began making people sick and turning some of them violent. Cole's abilities come in handy so Zeke's TV can keep running, but then they watch as a plane flies overhead, dropping a care package filled with food that gets stuck on a statue. Cole provides some hope to the hungry below and knocks it down, but a group of Reapers attacks. This faction existed before the explosion but grew exponentially in size after quarantine, so Cole does his duty to eliminate them. He gets his first karmic decision of the series and can elect to fry a few civilians so he can secure more food, but we're good guying it today, so that's the way we go here. Trish shows up right in time to nab a couple Twinkies, but her good mood is short-lived when this wannabe Mr. Robot hijacks the TV signal and reports Cole MacGrath as the terrorist that caused the explosion. This led to Trisha's sister's death, and that causes a huge rift between her and Cole, despite him pleading with her. Like, would she blame the delivery driver for giving her food poisoning, or the restaurant? Regardless, she leaves him there, and the crowd realizes the guy on the TV is right next to them. So Cole and Zeke scurry off before they get too rowdy. Looking to leave town, they go to the Stampton Bridge, which is blocked off by heavily armed forces. There's a significant crowd running through, so Cole begins attacking the police, which encourages the crowd to rush through while Cole fries up 22 slices of bacon. By the time they reach the quarantine station, they have just a few seconds of peace before a wall of bullets decimates the civilians there, and both Zeke and Cole barely escape unscathed. Cole is captured by the FBI and now has Moya's voice to deal with for the remainder of the game. She offers to help Cole leave Empire City if he can find the ray sphere that caused the explosion and a man named John White, who she claims to be her husband. Cole uses a pathway under the bridge to get back to the city and fights off 4 Reapers before meeting back up with Zeke. Afterwards, Moya calls about some strange transmissions coming from a rooftop. This introduces dead drops left behind by John White that provide him more background information and lore for the world. He collects more under Moya's direction, leading to another 8 kills as Reapers guard the final one. Once they're finished there, Moya mentions a contact of hers didn't check in the day before, so she wants Cole to investigate. That leads him to this dead-ass woman in an alleyway, and using his powers is able to follow an echo of her husband, which ultimately leads Cole into a confrontation with more Reapers Reapers, who he battles in the streets to obtain another 15 kills. But this one maniac blows himself up to ensure Cole can't add yet another kill, and in doing so destroys a substation that knocks out the power. Cole descends into the sewers where he reestablishes the circuit and gets a new power that lets him heal people for good karma or leech their life force for evil karma. Obviously, good karma is what we do in this playthrough, but I really enjoy the evil powers more in these games. Let me know down in the comments if you went the infamous route for your first playthrough like I did. It's actually the way to go, especially since it was Sucker Punch's original direction for the game and obviously the title of the series. Instead, we're the boring good guy and heal people while wiping out the 5 Reapers and leaving their body amongst the shit down here for a very nice kill count. Cole runs into Moya's contact, who agrees to help Cole out after finding out his wife is dead. He opens the door so Cole can get the transformer up and running to restore the power. As soon as he emerges onto the streets, Moya informs him an EMT requested help at a clinic that is continually getting attacked by Reapers, so Cole puts an end to that pronto for another 5 kills. Most of Empire City is still without power, so Cole works to bring electricity to more of the island, and each time he goes into the sewers, he's given a new ability, this time obtaining shot grenades. This mission increases the kill total by 11 until he's able to bring the power back up. Things are still dire above ground, however, and he finds a strange tar-like substance infecting the water and making people sick. Trish angrily tells him to shut the water off, but when he turns the valve, it's as if a Dilophosaurus spit in his fucking face. Trish is annoyed by this inconvenience and guides him to an ambulance where she uses a solvent to wipe the crap off. But she tells him that's all he gets, and if it happens again, then he just has to deal with it. Which means it happens again. But the next time it does, Cole hears a strange woman's voice confessing her love to him. While shutting off valves and finding a source for the black gunk, he discovers Reapers are the ones behind it, and pushes his kill tally over 100 when dealing with them. That wraps up the first full day we spend with Cole as day 15 in quarantine begins. He starts the day by ensuring electricity can be accessed in another part of the city, giving us one of the most useful powers in Cole's arsenal, Sonic-like grinding on rails and wires. There's 11 more Reapers willingly breathing in the city's poop until Cole disrupts their scat-loving lives with the sweet release of death. He restores power, but above ground, the Reapers have crammed civilians inside a train to frighten the city's population into submission. Moya believes John White may be in that train, but if Cole tries to free the people here, the Reapers are ready to open fire, so she needs him to move the train to a safe location before the hostages are freed. This task results in the largest kill increase yet as Cole defends the train against 32 Reapers while he uses his powers to guide it along the tracks until the hostages can flee. But there's no John White amongst them. This mission begins to change how civilians see Cole, with them now recognizing him as a hero. That kinda angers Cole at first, since they were so ready to tear him apart just yesterday. But even his cynical ass can't deny the warm embrace of adoration. His good mood is ruined when Trish disrespectfully blames Cole for the tar coming back and continuing to make people sick. So he seeks to eliminate the crap from the water system by kicking the rooftops. He finds devices on various water towers and removes them, but again gets covered in it and is forced to listen to this insane woman lusting after Cole. There's 10 more Reapers who meet their end while he deals with this nonsense, and after he removes the final device, a strange man shows up in style. He loves to rub bald heads and without asking grabs Cole's, which shows him visions of the future with a lot of death. Little is explained, but Cole just knows the man is responsible for everything that has happened thus far. He's released and the guy nopes out of there hella quick, leaving Cole to go back to Zeke's for some rest. Zeke has been doing some digging on his little FBI friend, discovering Moya to be a high-ranking and well-respected agent, and he implores Cole not to trust her. Day 16 begins with Cole seeking to activate the final transformer in this section of the city. Moya found out a woman named Sasha leads the Reapers and that she's going to be their next target. Cole obtains the precision strike ability so he can snipe unsuspecting Reapers in their hooded ass faces. As soon as he's done establishing power, Trish calls Cole annoyed at the fact she even has to hear his voice and demands he protect some medical equipment that is in danger of being destroyed by the Reapers. This task puts Cole up against a bunch of them, allowing him to fight off and kill 30 Reapers to ensure Trish can remain angry at him for no good reason. Moya informs Cole that Sasha is hiding out in a tunnel whose entrance is being blocked by a Reaper compound, so he needs to enter from there and follow the tunnels to find Sasha. He completely decimates the Reapers attempting to protect this place, with all of them outside and inside the tunnels falling to Cole's powers. He finally meets Sasha face to face and the first boss fight of the series takes place. She does a lot of hallucinatory shit, which normally Cole would be down with, but this time it's just annoying and he eventually subdues her. Before he can finish her off, an explosion rocks through the tunnel and stuns Cole, allowing a team of soldiers to extract Sasha in quick fashion. He recovers and escapes through the hole and into another part of the city called the Warren. Feeling vulnerable, Cole's first mission here is to get power back up. But down here, a new faction awaits. The Dust Men operate in a similar manner to the Reapers, and they die like them too. This also gives him another useful power, the ability to glide. Zeke calls in a favor asking Cole to seek out a friend of his named Dwight, who is dead as fuck. He actually couldn't care less about dead-ass Dwight though, and really just wants to bang his sister. So to earn some brownie points, he asks Cole if he can find the murderer and return the favor. Cole suddenly becomes the most extreme wingman ever, murdering 9 dustmen in pursuit of Dwight's killer. This mission introduces us to the scrap crabs. Thankfully they aren't too itchy and they're easy to kill, but they won't be added to the count since they aren't actually living creatures. Like your mother, they're hunks of trash that are being held together by energy produced by these trash fellas. Once the job is done, Cole tells Zeke he's never doing that again and immediately gets a call from Trish, yet again angrily demanding his assistance. The Dustmen are kidnapping engineers and mechanics and killing any that don't work with them. So Cole's tasked with saving them and escorting them to the drawbridge to connect the Warren with the Neon District. This quest has Cole taking on both Dustmen and Reapers as he saves the engineers necessary to reconnect the bridge and has to protect them as waves of enemies try to kill them on both sides of the bridge, which nets 32 more kills. He's had a long ass day, so Cole turns in for some rest so he can begin the next day like he always does, restoring power to another section of the city. This grants him the Megawatt Hammer, a large ball of energy that will send guys flying in hilarious slow motion. As always, there's some enemies down here that Cole gets to test his new abilities on, this time with 13 more lives being snuffed out in the sewers. While he was doing that, Zeke was trying to be useful and thought it would be a good idea to attempt to sneak into the Dustmen's compound. So now he finds himself kidnapped and being body shamed by Cole's enemies.
We've got your fat friend!
Which doesn't sit too well with our charged up superhero. This gives him the largest increase in kills so far, with 51 Dustmen meeting their end after they succeed in pissing Cole off. He frees his friend with some choice words, making Zeke feel like he's as useless as an allergy warning on a pack of peanuts. Soon after, Moya calls Cole about a crashed drone she wants him to examine. Other groups are searching for the Ray Sphere as well, and this confirms they're using drones to do so, and have shifted focus on the Warren. There are 4 other drones flying about, so Cole sends each one crashing to the streets and quickly checks them out. The weirdo that rubbed his head earlier calls Cole, saying he's got to learn some hard lessons, and in the background he's either listening to some real raunchy shit, or maybe torturing Sasha, nobody really knows. There's not a whole lot of combat in this mission, with Cole's focus on the drones, but 5 enemies are dumb enough to approach while he's sifting through the wreckage of a couple drones. While he was busy doing that, the Dustmen were gathering hostages to store on some boats, assuming the military won't simply blow them up if they have innocents aboard. But the military don't give a fuck about civilian casualties, and are waiting out in the water for these dipshits to try them. Cole takes it upon himself to disable each of their boats, free the hostages aboard said boats, and beat the ever-living shit out of the Dustmen, surrounding all 4 of their boats for another respectable kill increase. He receives word from Trish that the Reapers attacked her the last time they made a trip to the hospital, so she's hoping Cole will protect her bus, which he does just barely as they drive through a motherfucking turf war that nets Cole 37 Reaper kills and 29 Dustmen kills. As they pull up to the hospital, Alden, the leader of the Dustmen, jump scares Cole with a rocket and gets his mind freak on by lifting Trish's bus onto the roof of the building. Cole puts another 11 enemies down on his way up there to save Trish, who took a near-death experience to finally forgive Cole. That ends the day on a good note, and the following morning begins in a hurry as Cole rushes to face the Dustmen as cops start an operation to arrest Alden. He distracts Alden's men so they can't provide backup and winds up murdering a bunch in the process. As Cole finishes up with the final enemy, a chopper flies overhead, boasting about their success, which ignites a deadly war in the streets as Dustmen attack civilians indiscriminately. They behave as if the world is suddenly Mad Maxian, and arm some buses with armor, a generator, and guns. Cole travels around town disabling 4 of their buses to limit the carnage. I won't count any deaths here because the buses don't actually blow up, and instead it appears he's overloading them and simply disabling all the machinery inside. Once things are somewhat under control, Cole goes to the prison to back up the police as they prep for a dusty offensive. They're waiting on an extraction team and need to last until they get there. But thankfully for them, Cole ain't a Minuteman and expels a ton of energy protecting them and killing a whole lot of enemies, 81 of them to be exact. But Zeke makes yet another mistake and leaves some cops behind so he can get in on the action, which dooms them as Alden is able to escape and rally behind his army to ensure a more difficult response the next time around. Cole goes underground again to turn on the lights and gain a defensive ability. He runs into a few more dustmen hiding out down here, and after he leaves the sewers, John White gives him a call. He wants to meet, and Moya wants Cole to convince John to come in. What, you ask? Your guess is as good as mine. He arrives at the meeting spot, but a chopper flies in shouting John's name and causing him to flee instead. So Cole rushes after them, only to watch the chopper get blown up. Cole does some blowing up of his own to down the magical dustman. John used that moment to dip out and later calls Cole to inform him the Ray Sphere is sitting atop Alden's tower. Cole also discovers Moya was straight up lying, dude, because John doesn't know who the fuck she is. Despite his better judgment, Cole invites Zeke to assist in storming Alden's tower so he can feel useful, I suppose. He's able to get that count into the 600s as he climbs the tower, dirties its floors with liters of blood, all while activating each elevator so Zeke can be present during all this, and attempt to snatch the Ray Sphere while Cole does the heavy lifting. Zeke eventually succeeds right as Kessler shows up, which triggers Alden so hard he forgets about everything else and just screams at Kessler. Zeke side-eyes Cole, indicating some fuckery is afoot, and Zeke tries to activate the sphere to get powers of his own, but it doesn't work, and Kessler offers Zeke a deal if he hands the ball over. With barely a second thought, Zeke goes with Kessler, dumbfounding Cole so much that some rebel smashes into the top of his head and he hardly even registers it. He wakes up with John chirping in his ear about an Alden rampage, which Cole puts a quick end to after killing 11 more of his men. He defeats Alden on the bridge, but he doesn't let himself get killed and jumps into the water below. He hardly gets any rest before Kessler warns him of prisoners scattered around the city strapped to bombs. And as if that isn't stressful enough, he has Trish on standby for a quick kill if Cole fails to rescue even a single captive. He traverses the area, freeing people as he finds them and fighting off Kessler's faction known as the First Sons. His final game is for Cole to choose between saving Trish on one building or a group of doctors on another. All of them are strapped to a timed device that only gives Cole time to save one or the other. Regardless of your decision here, Trish will die. If you go for Trish, then Kessler reveals she was actually grouped in with the doctors the whole time. Or if you go for the doctors like I did, then Trish is in the other building and falls to her death. See ya!
Trish!
He rushes to her side and is able to bring her back to life for a few brief moments. This sends Cole on a warpath until the end of the game as he goes underground to activate the final transformer. But this section of the city is older and has a few substations above ground. This mission nets him a shitload of kills, dude. He utilizes his arsenal of powers, but 89 out of the 110 total kills earned are attributed to Cole's awesome lightning storm ability. John warns Cole that Kessler is using Sasha's powers against her will, gathering up her toxin that is now being distributed over the city via balloon. There's plenty of enemies on the rooftops during this mission, but Cole remains laser focused and ignores them in favor of targeting the balloons. While Cole had his hands full, John was fashioning a chopper that can pinpoint the Ray Sphere's location. But Kessler has some jammers set up around the city that need to be destroyed, along with 50 members of his shitty little gang. 3 weeks since quarantine began, and Cole finds himself sleeping next to Trish's grave each night until John confirms the location of the sphere. It's heavily guarded in a compound, so John wants Cole to take out the anti-aircraft gun so he can fly a chopper in and drop a fart bomb on these bustas. Cole gains a few more kills while doing that, but the First Sons were able to smuggle the sphere out and take it to a dock where they make their last pathetic stand. Cole and John approach the Ray Sphere, and Cole has to choose whether to use it to increase his power or destroy it. He likes to bust that thing up, but when he does, a powerful vortex appears, tearing John apart while Cole escapes with his life. John will not count as a kill, which I'll explain here shortly. Kessler expresses his disappointment in Cole's decision to forego powering up. He tells Cole they can throw hands at noon o'clock at Ground Zero. Cole MacGrath is ready to show Kessler his McWrath, and they tussle for a few minutes until Cole shows Kessler exactly why he didn't need that Ray Sphere. Kessler uses the last of his strength to rub that smooth head one more time, which shows Cole more visions. Turns out, he is him, or him is he. Kessler is Cole, but from the future, and he John Connored his way back in time to prepare Cole for a much bigger threat called the Beast. After injecting his memories into Cole's head, the last of his energy drains and he becomes just another number on Cole's ever-increasing kill count. That wraps up the first game, which segues directly into a 6-issue comic that bridges the gap between the first 2 games. It provides provides more details on Moya, Kessler, and John, but this is a Cole-focused story, so we're only following him. 3 days after Kessler's death, things in Empire City are finally stabilizing, and Cole hunts down the last of the First Sons for a 7-kill increase. Afterwards, he finds himself alone with Zeke and tells him all about who Kessler is and that it's messing with his head. The following day, Zeke attempts to comfort Cole about the situation, but that's cut short when Moya sends the military into the city to capture Cole. He doesn't hold back against them whatsoever, blowing up and electrocuting 19 personnel. Moya gets in touch with Cole, promising things will get more interesting if he continues to fight. He considers leaving the city to prevent more unnecessary civilian casualties, but Zeke and their police friends are suddenly attacked by a monstrous conduit. This is Cole's introduction to David, a man that was experimented on by Kessler, who used the ray sphere on him over 30 times. This gave him more power each time, but also messed him up big time. Moya sends soldiers to fight it since Cole's her priority and she can't do much with him dead. Cole flees to lure David away, and Moya fires a rocket into a building to attempt to kill the unwanted adversary. Cole is hiding well away from his friends and wakes up from a nightmare, but the military has located his position and sends some of Sasha's toxin into the apartment. He tries to escape his guilt-tripping hallucinations and winds up right in the arms of the military. Zeke and the warden watch it all happen, will track his location down soon. Cole wakes up sometime later to find Moya offering employment, but she's only giving him the illusion of choice. If he refuses, they'll implant a device in his skull that will enable them to control him. But right outside, David has emerged and is killing soldiers left and right, which causes enough distraction to make things go all cattywampus. Sasha appears and frees Cole from his bonds. She stays to fight while Cole heads outside and links up with Zeke. Cole decides right there he's done running and squares up against David. They trade blows and Cole gets thrown like a ragdoll atop a ship, and it's there he summons a massive lightning storm to obliterate David and end his little rampage. The battle destroyed the ship as well, putting Moya's life in danger, and despite her earlier actions, Cole attempts to save her. She warns him the water is rising fast and tells him to get, making her death her own choice and robbing Cole of another kill. Footage of conditions in Empire City finally get out to the rest of the world, but perhaps more surprisingly, footage of a super-powered human taking on the criminals also leaks. Cole gets a call from an NSA agent, Lucy Quo, and that leads us directly into Infamous 2. She's arrived in Empire City to help Cole prepare for the Beast. She knows a man named Dr. Wolf who lives down in New Marais and can power Cole up. But a sudden explosion rocks the city. Not about to leave everyone to die, Cole jumps off the boat to get the big bitch of a beast's attention. He absolutely rocks him, blowing his head in half and possibly saving him a trip down to the muggy south. But on his way back to the boat, he surprises Cole, only to get his shit rocked again. That time injures Cole, however, and when he wakes up, he watches as the beast has completely annihilated Empire City. They pull into the bayou and make a sudden stop when Lucy spots the militia blockade in the distance. Much like the now ruined Empire City, New Marais has been taken over by a rogue faction known as the Militia. They risk getting killed if they go any further, so Zeke arms his boy Cole with a new melee weapon that focuses his energy, and he gets out to clear the path to the city, decimating these guys like he did the others back home. There is one part where Cole blows up a boat, and while it's difficult to see how many guys were on it, we can spot 4 corpses floating in the water near the wreckage. Lucy meets him in the city and gets a call from Dr. Wolf about the militia raiding his office that morning. Lucy goes to check on him, while the militia attack Cole in the streets to defend the item they stole from Dr. Wolf. This turns into a massive mistake on their part as they find themselves dead as shit and Cole obtains a blast core. But then an explosion in the distance sends shards of these things all over the city, implementing a similar gameplay mechanic from the first game that ups Cole's energy meter. He rushes over there to find Wolf under some rubble and helps him out. So Wolf pays it forward by showing him a device he invented called the Ray Field Inhibitor. He explains it as kind of an anti-ray sphere that takes powers away and is the key to truly defeating the beast. The blast core he took from the militia is used to power the RFI and simultaneously make Cole stronger. But with each core comes a short period of unconsciousness and a screen showing us how many we need to find and how many miles away the beast is. That's 1,770 kilometers for all you sensible metric users. Cole wakes up to find Zeke chasing off some rogue militia who abducted Wolf, and he heads down to the street to test his new power, and shot puts this vehicle directly into the face of this lone soldier. Cole talks to Zeke, who has been getting blown up by residents asking him to utilize the Electric Man's powers. This opens up side missions that are marked with blue or red to indicate which side of the karmic meter they fall on. I stick with primary missions this whole playthrough, but this game does force Cole into some quick side content at the start, so he helps some police out by eliminating 6 soldiers in the militia. Absorbing the blast cores gives Cole the opportunity to gain additional powers by stressing his body. He has to complete certain tasks to unlock these powers, so this turns into a headhunting mission as Cole seeks out 8 unsuspecting militia. Their leader, Joseph Bertrand, is holding a speech tonight to further ingrain himself as the city's savior. So a couple hours later, Cole and Zeke watch from the crowd as Bertrand amps up his anti-conduit rhetoric with fear-mongering. A monster shows up to crash the party right on time, and this is where Cole is introduced to the corrupted. Bertrand promptly leaves as the crowd disperses, and Cole takes down 6 of the monsters. With them cleared, he hurries after Bertrand and hops into his limo. But this old dude is nonplussed by Cole's presence, and we soon find out why. How'd you not hear a fucking chopper, Cole? The chopper unloads on Cole, forcing him to fight back and throw a goddamn car at it. Lucy gets a lead on Wolf's location, so Cole Sly Coopers his way across the rooftops until he stops at a house. He reports its location to Lucy, who is on her way, but first Cole has to remove some roadblocks. The first one ups the kill count by 5, but when he heads to the other, he finds it in ruins already. A much larger monster emerges from the street and gets put down a few minutes later. That gave Lucy the time she needed to pick Wolf up, but they triggered an alarm on their way out and desperately need Cole's help, who wipes out another 15 members of Bertrand's militia. But unfortunately, Cole can't stop the speeding semi-truck that rams them head on, which kills Dr. Wolf and stuns Cole long enough for the militia to abduct Lucy. It takes Cole 4 hours to fully recover and report back to Zeke, who recently overheard militia discussing a captive they're holding somewhere in the bayou. He still has a lot to make up for after his actions in Empire City, but Cole is glad Zeke tagged along as he checks the first shack. This mission pits Cole up against both corrupted and militia, who also fight each other, which makes for a fun mix of battle sequences as Cole just completely wrecks each faction's plans when he shows up. An explosion distracts Cole from his casual B&Es, and when he investigates he finds a whole lot of dead guys. This is where he meets fellow conduit Nyx, who has super speed and is able to wield some kind of oily, flammable substance. She's a big fan of Cole's, not on the level of Sasha's fandom.
Feel the love inside you, just waiting to be coaxed out.
But not far off. She has a blast core in her possession, but will only hand it over if Cole accompanies her on a militia hunting mission, which he does gladly. This provides a nice bump in kills as the 2 conduits team up and take down a small unit and remove them from the square. She hands the core over, and Cole asks her to stay in touch before he heads back to Zeke's rooftop hideout to find his friend dressed as a freaking militia.
Get your hands up, you deviant subhuman homo sapien!
He's going to use his disguise for espionage purposes, so Cole uses that core to black out for a while and shut Zeke out a bit. The beast continues to draw nearer while Cole tests out his new flashy power that swallows up 3 more lives. Sometime later, much to Cole's surprise, Zeke's undercover op has returned positive results. He knows where Lucy is being held, and Cole has a couple options on how to approach it. Nyx is reckless and violent, which is the bad karma option, so Cole takes Zeke's suggestion and frees some cops from militia captivity to get them on his side. This pushes Cole's kill total over 1,000 as he kills the militia and frees the Fuzz, who promptly take the fight to the militia base that results in another significant increase of 34 kills. After the violence dies down, Cole opens a door that leads underground where Lucy is being held. He uses his innate electricity to fry her bindings, but it winds up overloading the system and frees more than just her. An army of ice-wielding soldiers flee the underground compound, while Cole escorts a woozy Lucy to Zeke's truck. She's so goddamn slow here, Cole has ages to obtain 9 more kills before she finally crawls into the truck. While Lucy recovers from her trauma, Cole heads to the powered down section of the city and works to bring the power back up. These missions tend to net a ton of kills, since it forces Cole into protecting the Transformer while wave upon wave of enemies rush at him. Then once it's fully powered up, he uses a huge strike of lightning to kill every enemy nearby. He hears a woman shouting for help from the swamp, and after freeing her, she requests his protection so he can meet her Uncle LaRoche. He gets a quick 30 kills between corrupted and militia while protecting her on the streets, but she straight up lies to her Unc.
There were hundreds of those monsters. He fought them all.
Actually, I killed 25 of the monsters. LaRoche is a little rude towards Cole despite saving his kin. But then this big-ass monster shows up, suddenly demanding Cole's attention. After dispatching that thing, he links up with Lucy in the cemetery sporting some sweet ice powers. Cole likes the new dramatic look, but hates being touched.
Ow, damn it!
He offers to teach her how to control her powers by killing off about 3 dozen enemies in a convenient resting place. Not only does it provide a respectful increase in kills, but it also contains a blast core hidden by Dr. Wolf. Cole brings it back to their rooftop hangout, where Zeke informs them the machine used on Lucy is being moved. He coughs a bit and plays it off, but any of us COVID vets know this sumbitch is sick. Cole's antsy to use the blast core to get some shut-eye, and we see the beast continues to close the gap between them. At Nix's request, Cole meets her out by the swamp where she wants to show him something. It's not the 60 bodies Cole adds to the count either. It's a situation not too dissimilar from his own. Nix watched Bertrand sacrifice everyone she loved in this rundown part of town by using the Marais sphere. The blast gave her powers and more reason than most to kill Bertrand. They head back to the city where Zeke informs everyone else that their conduit machine is being held in Fort Felipe. They need a lot more help to storm a heavily fortified base like that, so Lucy suggests recruiting LaRoche and his men. In order to encourage a yes out of him, they gather up medicine to bring him and his troops. Cole sits atop the ambulance, blasting 18 fools along the way, but as soon as they arrive to LaRoche's base, they realize they've been followed and accidentally reveal their hideout to the militia. Definitely not a great way to get them on their side, but protecting them from certain death certainly helps. Fighting alongside Cole gets LaRoche's men jacked up and jacked off, so he has a difficult time turning them down and agrees to storm the fort, which is the name of the next mission. Cole, Nix, and Lucy go in first and start the battle, but they need to destroy the turret so LaRoche's men don't get torn up like they're storming Normandy. After the fighting concludes, they locate the device and Lucy explains how much it hurts and suggests they destroy it. But first, Cole thinks they should utilize it to trade powers and become stronger, then destroy it. You get a choice between Lucy and Nix, and honestly, Nix's power seems super lame compared to Lucy's, so this was an easy choice. The device subdues Cole, but he's able to get a blast off before Bertrand escapes the fort and damages his chopper. Homeboy keeps on fainting, however, and wakes up a minute or two later as Zeke tells him Lucy went after Bertrand. Cole hurries after her to find the chopper crash not too long after Cole damaged it, but a large monster is roaming the streets and distracts Cole from that temporarily. He repeatedly hits it in the most obvious weak points ever until it stops on its tracks, but in all the smoke and rubble, he sees Bertrand at the center of where the monster once was, revealing a secret he's hiding from the city. Bertrand flees into the flooded section of New Marais, and Cole follows to find those ice soldiers, who were once a mercenary group known as the Wehrmacht, have taken control of that part of the city. While he brings the modern wonder of electricity back, he takes on a bunch of them, earning a 91 kill increase. Zeke calls claiming LaRoche found a cure for the plague, but as soon as Cole arrives, they admit they were lying. What the fuck? Instead, LaRoche just wants to make the plague-ridden lives easier before they pass. But instead, they're being attacked and killed by corrupted. This provides yet another huge increase in kills, and one of the only times Cole gets to use something other than his powers to achieve it, instead using spotlights rigged to eviscerate the monsters. Much to their surprise, some Wehrmacht come and assist, but they actually want their blast core, and Cole has to kill them for it. Right after LaRoche makes a request of Cole. Like my ass, some wellcaps are spewing gas and fire into the surrounding areas, and Cole is the only one that can stop it. There's plenty of enemies that fight Cole and each other while he does that, and it succeeds in pushing his body count into the 1600s. Cole drops by their new train car hideout and receives some interesting information. Wolf's RFI was originally created to cure the plague, and that the Marais sphere is responsible for creating the disease in the first place. He blames himself for it, but like I mentioned earlier, he isn't responsible for the blast, so any that passed away from the illness cannot be attributed to Cole. Thank God for my sanity. He absorbs LaRoche's blast core, which gives me my favorite new attack, an electric rocket. The beast is getting real close, however, so they need to hurry things up, and luckily for them, Nix uncovered some more interesting information. Bertrand is hiding out in an abandoned train station, obviously just trying to one-up them and their lone train car hideout, and using it as a base to turn people into those monsters. Nix found out how to bond with them and control them, but that crap weirds Cole out, so he disregards her stupid idea and goes with Lucy's instead. He sneaks around and photographs their captives, then gets evidence of Bertrand's deeds so Lucy can broadcast them to the entire city so they turn against him. This reveals Cole's location, which is just dandy because that allows for another fight that results in 24 more deaths. He frees the remaining human prisoners and dips out to meet Zeke, who found a fucking nuke. With the beast so close now, Zeke dreams up this idea to stop him before the city is at risk. But there's a lot of fighting going on in the streets between militia, corrupted, and the Wehrmacht, which certainly helps with kill variety. Eventually, Zeke gets the missile into place, and Cole uses the targeting system for a direct hit. But then like in Empire City, a vortex appears indicating he's putting himself back together again. Zeke saw him head into the last power down section of New Marais, so Cole goes after him and powers it back up, turning into a healthy increase of 54 kills. But as he approaches the final transformer, Cole gets trapped behind bars by the lamest Decepticon ever. Cole makes his militia look silly while they attempt to shoot a fish in a barrel, but then Zeke arrives to save the day. He's been real useful this entire trip, so Cole apologizes for being a dick to him.
I don't call you brother because I like the way it sounds.
With the rest of the city powered up, Zeke was able to locate another blast core being held within militia-run warehouses, but that also means the Vermac are there searching for it too. Cole indiscriminately eradicates soldiers from both sides as he destroys their warehouses searching for this thing. Alongside the core is a briefcase detailing Bertrand's plans. He's a self-loathing, holier-than-thou hypocrite creating conduits to sell all over the world. He's already rich and tends to give money away to charity, so Cole's rather dumbfounded by this revelation. But his priority is increasing his likelihood of CTE by using the blast core. Afterwards, he feels energized and goes to the docks to ensure Bertrand can't attempt to escape the city by boat, but runs into the Merc group there and decimates them in return. John White suddenly shows up, showing exactly why he was never added to the kill count. He was torn apart by the Ray Sphere, but a Dr. Manhattan situation occurred where he was able to put himself back together. He wants to show Cole something and grants him the power to see the plague within people, and says to meet him down the street at a plague ward. There's a woman with a conduit gene suffering from the disease, and Cole's healing abilities aren't enough to cure her. So John reappears, claiming he has the power to save her and activate her conduit gene in the process, but at a cost. Suddenly, Cole realizes John is actually the beast, and the cost of saving a single conduit comes at every normie in the plague ward. John disappears again, so in the meantime, Cole seeks to end things with Bertrand and ambushes him on a helipad. We learn his motives, which I think are pretty fucking stupid. He's creating conduits and selling them to the highest bidders so the world can see the evil abominations they are. But Cole calls him out because his powers turn him into an ugly monster and aren't cool like his. This initiates the final confrontation with this guy and a team up with Zeke, Lucy, Nyx, and LaRoche's men. Cole gets 5 kills during this, but maintains focus on Bertrand as they lure him into a trap that weakens him to the point where Cole can finish him off. He dies unceremoniously, but he's just a side villain anyway, as the Beast is the final boss and Cole still needs another blast core before he can power up the RFI. Zeke knows where one is, but Cole can see the plague within Zeke, which we all saw earlier without powers. A large storm rolls in right on time to make this mission feel epic as hell, since it grants Cole infinite resources to re-energize and completely annihilate the Vermac trying to maintain control of the blast core. He snatches it up and gets himself another strong ability, which takes us to the end of the game. He explains to the crew what John is doing and attempts to use the RFI, but as he starts charging it, him, Nyx, and Lucy begin writhing in pain. Zeke takes initiative and smacks that thing out of Cole's grasp, which damages it slightly. The RFI still needs to be charged further, and they recognize Dr. Wolf hid the fact that the RFI kills conduits. Zeke and millions of others are doomed if it's not used, and Cole and every other conduit is doomed if it is. This is Cole's final decision. Sucker Punch originally intended to have Cole side with the Beast here, until they saw the trophy data from the first game proving most people never saw the evil ending. So because of that, they unfortunately didn't stick to the plan and changed the canon ending to the good one. Facing death scares Lucy, who flies off as she fails to steal the RFI. They need to charge it some more by hooking it up to active substations in the city, so Cole and Nyx team up to do that while LaRoche and his men try and distract John. But this Godzilla-sized motherfucker travels quickly and forces Cole into fighting him while Nyx charges the RFI. Cole kicks ass here, fending off both John and Lucy, but Nyx recognizes the RFI needs more time and sacrifices herself to stun John. Cole takes the RFI to a third substation and gets it to 100%, but can't ignore the opportunity to smack John around a little bit first. A broken and scared Lucy accepts her fate and apologizes to Cole, but he's just as scared as she is knowing they're about to meet their end. He uses the RFI and it sends a tidal wave of energy across the planet, wiping out every conduit all over the world, except not really. See, the damage dealt to the RFI made it imperfect. So while the majority of conduits did die, some of them survived. Finding out exactly how many perished was a task for sure. Leading up to the release of infamous Second Son, there was a quiz released by the developers that confirmed 90% of conduits died in the RFI blast. That figure alone provides nothing without a solid number to base it off of though. There are a couple figures thrown around, and there's one in particular I feel makes the most sense. There was a conduit test that is now non-existent that claimed there was a 1 in 16 chance of being a conduit, which is a crazy figure. This game is based in 2011, when the world population hit 7 billion, so that would put the estimated conduit population around 437.5 million. But the figure that makes way more sense to me is one uttered by Cole during the Evil ending. While he travels around trying to save as many conduits as he can, he claims there's a 1 in 1,000 chance, which puts the rough conduit population at 6.3 million. That's a far more sensible figure considering how few superpowered people emerged from the Marais sphere blasts. That means with his final act, Cole MacGrath took his total kill count from 1,818 all the way up to 6,301,818. That puts him at the 4th highest kill count covered so far. But despite making millions, he saved even more. The blast eradicated the plague as well and ensured the survival of his best friend Zeke and countless others.
I love you, brother. And I'm sure gonna miss you.
And that's where Cole MacGrath's story ends. Some think the final lightning strike could mean he's still alive, but Second Son confirms his death, and I definitely think it should stay that way. Cole finished things with a shit ton of kills, and obviously a vast majority of them are conduits after the RFI blast. But if you take those away, his most used method of murder was his basic electric attack, which made up 41.9% of the kills before the RFI. It took me 18 hours and 8 minutes to finish both Infamous 1 and 2, which gives us an absolutely ludicrous kill on average every 0.0002 minutes, which I believe is a kill every 12 milliseconds. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's fucking insane. I figured while I'm playing Infamous, I'll go ahead and play Second Son and its DLC. After that, who knows? If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Just want to thank each and every one of you for watching my silly videos and hope to see this community continue to grow in 2025. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.